So next up, podcast listeners, we have the dumbest bill in America. Do we have a lead up, Mr. Producer? Here it is.
Dum 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 dum.
And it is the dumbest bill in America, and it is from Illinois, HB 121 from the state of Illinois. It makes illegal immigrants a protected class. I want to repeat that. This bill makes being an illegal immigrant a protected class. So as you know, in America, we have all different kinds of protected classes, things you just can't discriminate against, right? You can't discriminate against someone's religion. You can't discriminate against someone's sexual preference. You can't discriminate against someone's sex. Well, now you can't discriminate against an illegal immigrant when you're hiring. I would repeat that. Illegal immigrants are a protected class in Illinois. You cannot discriminate against them if you are an employer and you fail to hire them. What? This bill was introduced and signed into law by the governor, but introduced by State Representative Will Guzzardi. Will Guzzardi. So first up, I have to read to you a little bit about good old Will Guzzardi. And let's see if we can find this. Well, first, before we do that, let's read from the bill. So this is Representative Will Guzzardi, HB 121. And the bill says, be it enacted by the people of the state of Illinois, represented in the General Assembly. And it talks about all the protected classes. That the protected classes are race, color, religion, sex, national origin. These are all existing protected classes, mind you. Ancestry, age, order of protection, status, marital status, physical or mental disability, military status, sexual orientation, pregnancy, or unfavorable discharge from military service in connection with employment, real estate transactions, access to financial credit, and the availability of public accommodations. And they've added to it, freedom from discrimination based on work authorization status employment to prevent discrimination based on the specific status or term of status that accompanies a legal work authorization. So that's fancy words. Those are fancy words for if you're in Illinois illegally, because you crossed the border, the southern border illegally, and you are relocated by Homeland Security to Illinois by the Biden administration, and you go to apply for a job as an illegal immigrant, the employer would get in massive trouble by not hiring you because this illegal immigrant is a protected class and you are breaking the law by not hiring them. Can you imagine? It's unbelievable. I can't make this stuff up. It's House Bill 121 in the state of Illinois. It says work authorization status. This is how they define it. Quote, work authorization status means the status of being a person born outside of the United States and not a United States citizen who is authorized by the federal government to work in the United States. Oh, yeah, right. Right. They're not authorized. And it keeps using that word, or work authorization status, meaning or work authorization, but they're not authorized to be here. And even if they're not authorized to be here in the state of Illinois, and you have a business, small, medium, large business, and you're trying to find someone to hire, and you have a list of 10 people, and let's just say 8 of those 10 people are illegal immigrants and 2 are American citizens, in theory, under this bill, you could get in big trouble because you are discriminating based on a protected class of illegal immigrant. So it goes on to say, for any employer to request for purposes of satisfying the requirements of this section, as now or hereafter amended, more or different documents than are required under this section, or to refuse to honor documents tendered. So in other words, you can't ask for documents from the illegal immigrants to determine whether or not they are legally here or not as a basis of not hiring them. Can you imagine? It says, or to refuse to honor work authorization based upon the specific status or term of status. So, look, for me personally, if someone is here illegally and I have an opportunity to hire someone who is an American citizen, I'm going to hire the American citizen. It just is common sense. It just seems like that is the right thing to do. Of course it's the right thing to do. So who is Will Guzzardi, the sponsor of this awful piece of legislation in the state of Illinois? Who is he? Well, we used to have this information. He's, of course, a progressive from the state, and he's a big fan, of course, of anything that is progressive and that is contrary to common sense. But he also put a bill in a few years ago to mandate a $15 minimum wage. And he claims, well, it won't shed any jobs if I do it. I mean, we've heard this argument a million times, but this guy is a graduate of Brown University. And it just amazed, another elite who lives one way, went to an elite school, an Ivy League school, and then puts a bill in that literally is going to destroy not just the country, potentially, but also the business community by protecting people who are undocumented, who are illegally present, who are illegal aliens. Well, we have a clip from Will Guzzardi as he is talking to a reporter about his $15 minimum wage. We couldn't find a clip, by the way, on HB 121, which makes illegal immigrants a protected class, because he probably didn't want to talk about that openly because it's stupid, even though it is the law now in Illinois. So we had to find this one, but it's just bad enough. It's a short clip, and here it is.
The overwhelming consensus of the data is that we're not going to see this sort of doomsday scenario where all these folks are going out of business and where we're shedding jobs, where people are losing their opportunity to work. What we're going to see is that low-wage workers who need a raise are going to get a raise, and otherwise not much is going to change.
So then the reporter went on to ask him, after he is making this argument, the data shows that, employers are fine, even though we're mandating what employers should pay. These are private businesses, and private businesses should be able to pay whatever they want to pay. But this is the same guy now that is reaching into those same private businesses and saying, you have to hire people who are illegally present. They're illegal immigrants. They're illegal aliens. You have to hire them, because they are a protected class, and you have to pay them $15 an hour. I mean, what the hell? So then the reporter asked this guy, and I didn't make this second clip because I can explain it, I think, probably better. The reporter asks Will Guzzardi about his $15 minimum wage. He says, well, isn't that going to cause potential inflation? Isn't this interesting? This was years ago when he gave this interview, years. And here we are in a situation in the United States of America where we have massive inflation. And some of that inflation is driven by the fact that there are breaks in the supply chain, as we discussed before, and potential black swan events like COVID-19. And some of it is because of mandates like the $15 minimum wage, which then puts more cash into the economy and drives inflation as well. And here's the problem. If you had a $15 minimum wage a few years ago, and you did that in the state of Illinois, which they do have, by the way, and you have massive inflation now, that $15 is worth significantly less now. So what are you going to do next? You're going to mandate another minimum wage. That's what, $20 an hour? So as a result of doing those things, people like Representative Will Guzzardi, who went to Brown University, is going to do what? He's going to implement hyperinflation. He's going to cause hyperinflation. Hyperinflation is when inflation gains steam because policymakers are so stupid, like this guy. So not only is he causing hyperinflation by his policies, but now he's saying, well, you got to order that protected class of you have to hire the protected class of illegal immigrants before you hire the Americans. And if you do hire the Americans first, the American citizens, that is, you need to prove why they were the better employee rather than the illegal immigrant, because the American citizens aren't protected classes. The illegal immigrants are in employment law in the state of Illinois. And that is the dumbest bill in America, HB 121 by Representative Will Guzzardi from the state legislature in the state of Illinois. And that is it for Mark and the Millennials. Thank you for joining Mark and the Millennials. This is Mark Fisher. Thank you to our producer, Christopher Hopkins. Check us out on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Parler, Rumble, and our website. See you next time.